This video highlights some aspects in the training of Ministry of Defence police officers and some of the duties they can expect to become involved in. Young people from all walks of life join the force and report to the police training school at Medmenham on the edge of the Chiltern Hills. There they'll meet their fellow students and course instructor who will tutor them in law and general police duties throughout the course. One of the first priorities is to get the students kitted out in the standard police uniform. The new uniforms worn in this force are those worn also by the Metropolitan Police in London. Theory learnt in the classroom is put into practice whenever possible, and here we see students attending at the scene of a road traffic accident. Instructors play the parts of the two drivers, and the students are expected to elicit from them all the details required to enable them to write an appropriate report. Measurements are also taken at the scene, are recorded by the triangulation method, drawn onto a plan of the accident and submitted with the written report. Conditions at the scene are made as realistic as possible. At most establishments, all vehicles entering and leaving are liable for search by the police. These random searches are carried out under conditions of employment, and the students are taught the correct way in which to carry these searches out. Police are invariably responsible for control of entry at the more sensitive establishments. Emphasis is on the practical aspects of the visitor's reception and questioning, and here we see a student dealing with a visiting tradesman played by a member of staff. At the police training school, we are particularly proud of the realistic courtroom in which students are taught the basic skills of presenting evidence. The surroundings are impressive and add an air of solemnity to the instruction. Members of staff take some of the parts, and often JPs from the Marlow bench visit, sit in and add realism to the proceedings. Time is set aside during periods of instruction for the students to question their instructors on points of procedure about which they may have been in doubt. Students are taught self-defence by a qualified member of staff in order that they'll be able to protect themselves when either in danger of physical assault or whilst making an arrest. Aikido is the form of passive defence used, and from that art, various holds, arm and wrist locks are practised under close supervision in the training school's small gymnasium. Recreation plays a part in developing team spirit. Playing fields at the school boast a good wicket and cater for both shapes of ball, oval and round. The ability to handle a riot shield, form cordons, advance in response to missiles thrown from any direction, and work together as a team is taught under realistic conditions during public order training periods. All officers up to and including inspectors attend public order courses run at the training school. Here we see that a member of one of the shield units has fallen to the ground injured and is lifted and dragged to safety behind the shields of his colleagues. And this is how it looks from the police officer's viewpoint. Students are taught in the classroom to strip and handle a pistol by a member of staff who is a qualified firearms instructor. Male students fire the 9mm Browning pistol and females the 7.65mm Walther. Firing practice is carried out in the training school's indoor range. The interference on the screen is caused by the sound of the bullets being fired and their impact on the targets. The culmination of recruit training is a formal passing out parade to which wives, parents, family, guests and local dignitaries are invited. These scenes were videoed at COD Chilwell in July 1984 during a CND demonstration held there. Duty at these demonstrations may play an ever-increasing part in the workaday life of today's police officer. Recruits fresh out of training school will very quickly learn that they must always appear cool, calm and collected when lifting and shifting demonstrators and when making arrests. Attempts may be made to goad them into reactions that they may later regret. And of course, the responses may well be caught by the media's cameras, who are generally an evidence at such events. Close cooperation is needed with other agencies during these demonstrations, and their assistance is always of great value.
We must have some more assistance up there.
Prisoners arrested must be conveyed for processing to a central point. They are fingerprinted and any property in their possession is placed in plastic bags and locked safely away. Temporary detention areas are necessary prior to removal to more formal, secure surroundings. Traffic control duties are part and parcel of a police officer's daily routine. Point duty is often made even more interesting by the many queries received from members of the public. The contact, content and control technique is crucial when conducting an interview. In this scene, acted out in the school TV studio and taken from a training video, a woman sergeant is interviewing a girl who has complained of being raped. During certain functions, exhibitions, Navy days, air shows and displays, police officers with specialist training carry out searches of buildings and vehicles and look for any explosive devices which may have been hidden away during the absence of the owner. In this scene, a police officer is using a special handheld detector device to search a vehicle during the 1984 Farnborough Air Show. Young men have an affinity with motorised wheels, and the motorcycle patrolman's job is much sought after. The police dogs that we use in this force are German Shepherds, and they are widely used for patrol work. The dogs are invaluable when patrolling open spaces of some of the larger establishments and are capable of detecting an intruder when an incursion has been made through the boundary fence. Patrol work is not all, however. Kennel work and the necessary care and grooming of the police dog takes up a great deal of the handler's time. The rapport established between handler and dog is so great that in this instance the police dog just would not allow this cameraman into the wired compound. The aggression and commitment shown by this police dog when tackling an armed man is indicative of the dog's courage and obedience. This scene was recorded during a training session which culminated in the dog and the handler winning the coveted UKLF Dog Championship and the Princess Anne Cup. The hub of all police operations is the control room, the operators advising and directing the officers on the ground. On most establishments, mobile patrols in a police vehicle are carried out. These enable beat officers to visit outlying areas at frequent irregular intervals. A patrol officer is seen here paying a routine visit to HMS Victory at Portsmouth Dockyard. A vehicle allows a flexible routine to be worked, and a very quick response can be expected when the unit is contacted on the RT set. Officers in the Criminal Investigation Department of the force deal with all types of crime and offences. Here, a scenes of crime officer dusts for fingerprints a van used in the commission of crime and later impounded by police. Marine units add a further dimension to the Ministry of Defence police officers' activities. In police launches, qualified crewmen patrol the waters around Her Majesty's dockyards and naval bases to ensure that the appropriate dockyard port regulations and local bylaws are enforced. As well as preventing and detecting waterborne crime, they carry out their duties as customs officers under the deputations issued where appropriate to senior police officers. And they render assistance to all members of the seagoing fraternity. The nation's security is of prime importance, and the Ministry of Defence police officer, whether stationed in the Shetland Islands or in South Cornwall, quietly and efficiently on land and on water, plays his part in protecting the country's interests.